You're listening to Life with Herpes, and this is episode 68. I am your host, Alexandra Harbushka, and as always, I'm excited to be here with you. Thanks for joining me today on Life with Herpes. I know it's not a topic we want to talk about, but you know what? I try to make it fun, and it is a community that we are a part of. So we're here. Let's just make the best of it. As always, just thank you for being here with me. I enjoy it. It warms my heart to read all the comments you guys send me, emails, messages in the Slack group, messages on YouTube, the messages and the reviews. Just thank you. It means the world to me, and I am here for you. This is why I'm doing it. It is to help people and to help people like us that are living with herpes. So thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing to the show, rating the show, reviewing the show, and it just organically helps promote the show. The more subscriptions and reviews, whether it's comments or leaving a review in iTunes, it definitely helps promote the show. So thank you for being here. And the future people that have not found the show yet, they thank you as well, because without your help, they wouldn't have found the show. So thank you. Thank you. Okay, so today I was at the dentist. Lucky me, I'm one of the people that actually loves dentist for whatever reasons. I just love getting my teeth cleaned. I just think it's like the best thing ever, getting my teeth cleaned. And a little history of it, I still have baby teeth. If you are, let's see, if you're watching on YouTube, I have baby molars. Baby molars. I have like a bunch of baby molars. And I have never had a cavity, right? That's huge. I've never had a cavity. My mom and dad made sure I brushed my teeth, and I always went to the dentist, and I didn't eat a lot of sugar as a kid, and luckily I don't have cavities. And I have baby teeth. They're not supposed to last that long. So this is getting to the point of herpes, so don't worry. So anyways, I'm there, and the dentist is checking my teeth, and he goes, oh, we have a little problem on whatever, 14, blah, 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 blah. He goes, oh, the sealant that I put on your teeth when you were a little kid has fallen off, and I just want to make sure you don't get a cavity. I was like, oh, great, thanks so much. Well, so anyways, I had to come back today to have him put the sealant on so I don't get a cavity. Okay. While I was in the chair, like, with the things all in your mouth, and they got like two different hands, and they got the cotton thing, and they give you the glasses, and they give you because when they heat, for those of you that don't have the sealant on your teeth, it's like this white glue, I guess. It's like cement that goes in the cracks of your molars, not the cracks, but the grooves, so that you don't get cavities. So they put it on, and they use like almost like a hot gun. It's a light, and it like for 15 seconds or 30 seconds, it secures, I don't know, the cement so it doesn't move, so then you don't get cavities. So that's kind of how that process works. So I'm there with the fingers in my mouth, and I'm talking like that. And I'm thinking, gosh, I can remember when I was little, I lived in Arizona, and I went to a different dentist. And I can remember getting them the first time. I was in kindergarten, and I got the sealant the first time. And back then in the 80s, the dentist did not wear gloves. And that was not weird. That was now that's disgusting, right? But that wasn't weird. That wasn't anything. Just they washed their hands, and then they went to work. The dentist did not wear a latex glove, and it wasn't a big deal. Now, moving on, later on in life, I remembered I had braces, and my orthodontist retired, who I loved. I loved him. He retired. I also loved my dentist, also, like all great doctors. Anyway, so my favorite orthodontist retired and someone bought his practice and he went in to look at my teeth and didn't wear gloves. And this would have been in the 90s. This would have been, probably, let's just say roughly 95. And I remember I thought that was absolutely disgusting. Like, I thought that was the most disgusting thing ever, that the orthodontist did not use gloves to put his hands in my mouth, right? And so I remember telling the, office manager, office manager maybe. I said, oh, Dr. So-and-so didn't use gloves when he checked my mouth. And I said, it really bothered me, and it was kind of disgusting. And she goes, oh my gosh, thank you for telling me. It's against the law. I mean, we, as the dentist, anybody, they have to wear latex gloves to work on your mouth. Okay, so maybe you've decided where I'm going with this. Maybe you haven't. So I want to talk about oral sex and latex. That kind of oral sex and latex. I didn't plan on that rhyming. We have been educated, sort of, to use condoms, right? And it's to use condoms. Mainly the education was for vaginal sex, meaning a penis and a vagina. That's what we use condoms for. There was really no education, in my opinion, of anal sex. Like, the whole idea of anal sex using a condom really wasn't there. The marketing for condoms was don't get pregnant. Don't get somebody pregnant or don't get yourself pregnant. You got to use a condom. Then, oh, by the way, there could be these things called STDs, but the thing is, just don't get pregnant, right? So I feel like the marketing for using a condom for pregnancy, that's been done really well. Using a condom for STDs or STIs has not, especially, again, for anal sex, because you don't get pregnant having anal sex. It's not physically possible. So the only reason why you use a condom for anal sex would be to prevent STDs, right? Which, if you think that if you're not educated with STDs or how common they really are, it's easy to be like, oh, I don't need to worry about it. Same goes for oral sex, right? Because that has kind of been almost like the scapegoat for, I know, a lot of women to say, oh, well, I don't have sex, but I'll give you a blowjob. And I'm just speaking from a female perspective. I would love to hear your perspective on this, gentlemen. Please, please, please leave me messages, comment on this. I would love to hear. But I really feel that as women, we go like, oh, well, I'm not going to have sex, but I'll give you a blowjob. And in some ways, that's not in our minds sex, yet it is sex, right? And it's okay, and I won't get pregnant, or she won't get pregnant, and he gets off, and I'm speaking about giving a man a blowjob is where I'm coming from. Doesn't mean women don't get off, but I'm just speaking from a female perspective, right? And everything's fine, and I gave him a blowjob, and it's no big deal. Well, what I'm seeing a lot in our group, in emails I'm getting from you, just what I am hearing is so many of the genital outbreak transmissions are coming from oral sex. And that's great that we're all having oral sex. I think that's great. The problem is we're not protecting ourselves. Again, goes back to what I was saying. The education was use a condom so you don't get pregnant. Oh yeah, and by the way, there's these things called STDs, but unless you sleep around, you don't need to worry about it, right? That's the stigma. Or unless you sleep with someone dirty, you don't need to worry about it. That's another pissed off stigma I have. All of them are stigmas. But there's really been, like, the idea of using a condom for a blowjob is like laughable. Like that, I'm not in the dating world at this point in my life, but I'm sure it's laughable. It's almost weird to be like, oh, use a condom for a blowjob or a dental dam for a woman. So here's what I want to talk about. Again, I want to go back to being in the dentist. And it would be really weird and creepy if my dentist had his hands in my mouth, like his bare hands without a latex glove. That would be really like gross. Like I don't know if you're thinking about that in your mind right now, but isn't that be gross? Like someone's hands in your mouth. Like that's gross. We're just trained that that is gross. Now, when I was a little kid, it's interesting. It wasn't gross, but that was the norm. Going back to the norm. Okay? So now it's the norm to use condoms during vaginal sex, but it's not the norm to use condoms for oral sex. Anal sex is a whole other episode here. We're just talking about oral sex. And like I said, I'm seeing so many people, you guys are telling me, I didn't have sex, but I now have genital herpes because this guy went down on me. Or I hooked up with this guy, but I wasn't ready to have sex, so he went down on me. Or I gave this guy a blowjob that I met at a nightclub. I wasn't ready to have sex, but I gave him a blowjob. Whatever this scenario is, and all these people in our community here, just like you, just like me, now have genital herpes. They didn't have sex, but they didn't know it's not cool. We're not educated in this topic. You need to use latex for any type of sexual activity, vaginal, oral, or anal. So we're talking about oral right now. Now, I do go into this in other podcasts, but I'm going to talk about it lightly, and I'm going to link the other episodes. And let me look up really quick the episode number that I want to refer to you. It's episode 28 that I talk about safe sex in that episode. I know it's not sexy to think of safe sex, but what can be sexier than communicating and protecting each other? I think it's pretty sexy. But okay, so using a condom for oral sex is a great way to prevent either if you have oral herpes or genital herpes, depending on which one, to protect your partner and to protect yourself from your partner. So the reason why we use condoms is to protect getting anything from somebody and to protect us from passing it, whether we know or do not know we have herpes. Again, I hear so many times people go, oh, I had oral herpes, but I didn't know I could pass it when I went down on someone. I hear that time and time again. So let me make that clear. Yes, you can pass it by having oral sex. Both ways. You can get it on your mouth from someone having it in their genital region, and you can give it to someone in their genital region by them having it on their mouth. So you would like to, use a condom. They have flavored condoms. They have all sorts of things. They have flavored lubes, but you can use a condom for oral sex. It is going to prevent you from that or anything else that he or she may have. It also prevents that. And then also for women, you can use a dental dam. And you can use that. It is latex. It's basically just like a rectangle of stuff. It's a rectangular latex. Those also come in colors, things of that nature. So not colors, flavors. So that is what you can do to prevent passing it. Now, this is important for people in a couple of reasons. If you don't have herpes and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to get it, I'm single, I'm dating, whatever, use a condom or dental dam for oral sex. If you do have herpes and your partner does not, then you will want to use this to prevent passing it. It would be one of the great ways that you could practice to avoid passing it to your partner. Okay, this is kind of a lot. And as I'm saying this, I really need to go to the store. I need to go to the drugstore and buy condoms and dental dams and almost do like an example or like just show it. Like, what is it? How is it? I personally have never used a dental dam. I say that I have never used one. Maybe I'll try it and let you guys know how it works out. I have not used one, but I am not trying to be a hypocrite and say use it. Let me rephrase. I'm not being a hypocrite and saying I don't use one, don't worry about it. What I'm saying is at the point in my relationship where we have discussed it and we do not use one. That does not mean that we couldn't in the future. That does not mean we won't. It just means right now where we are, we're not using a dental dam. So with that said, if you are dating and not in a committed relationship, I highly, 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 highly recommend using a dental dam. Also, if you are in a committed relationship and your partner is worried about getting it, use a dental dam or condom, whatever side we're talking about here. Anyways, I hope that wasn't too confusing. But I really, again, in the dentist, I was like, and they get that whole thing. I was like, man, it'd be so gross if they didn't have gloves on, yet we suck dick without gloves on. That's actually really gross. If you think about it, right? Like, we will give someone a complete stranger a blowjob, and that's not disgusting. Yet having a dentist's hands in your mouth would be really disgusting. Or you would go down on someone you do not know, but you would never want a dentist's hand in your mouth without a glove like that. So just this whole paradigm is just something I want to put out there. It's just really interesting to me. All right. Again, thank you for being here. Join the community. Go to lifewithherpes.com. Join the community. It is free. There are so much great stuff. There are the 5 things I wish I had known before I was diagnosed, and the 9 secret home remedies that I like to use. I even reference myself when I'm getting an outbreak or think I'm getting an outbreak. And they're ebooks. It's a community. You get discounts on coaching. You get discounts on some of our products. Lots of cool shit over there in the community. Go to lifewithherpes.com. Sign up. Join our secret community, the Slack group. It is private. It is hopping. It is busy. There are people connecting, talking, telling their stories, and I feel it's such a privilege to be able to be the host for it. Anyways, thank you for being here. It is so nice to meet you. Make sure you subscribe, and I will see you soon. Oh, and go to the dentist, brush your teeth also.